Hello, you're welcome to the Digital Health Explainer series. If you're new here, well, you found a good resource to help you understand digital health. And if you're coming back again or you're following the series, well done because you're getting educated, you're staying educated. Now, today we're going to be talking about data. Let's dive in. We're looking at the pillar 2, which is data. So looking at data analytics, integration and flow. And the crux is, can data predict the future of the world? Now remember, in our last video, we built the hidden plumbing, the pipes, the vault, the guardhouse, the infrastructure. But the pipe is useless without anything flowing. If there's no water flowing through a pipe, it's just a pipe. So we're going to explore the data spectrum, what happens to what and what might happen. Now, the data spectrum moves from descriptive to predictive. Now, all useful prediction starts with understanding the past. So the first step on our data spectrum is descriptive analytics. What happened? So this looks at the past. This is like looking at historical weather information. Last month, let's say Ward 7 had 15 falls. Last winter, we had 40% spike in respiratory admissions, and our A&E target was missed by 22% at the time. So this is vital reporting. It tells us what our problems are, but it's reactive because the problem has happened. It's like reading yesterday's paper. Now we move on to step 2. Why did it happen? Why did all those things happen on the world? Why did the 15? Why did it happen? So this is where we connect the dots. So why did the falls happen? Now we do that by linking data. So we might see 80% falls occur during the night, because remember we took the data. So we saw that 80% falls occur during the night where the nurse to patient ratio was lowest. So we're not just seeing the rain, we're identifying where the low pressure is coming from, or identify where the problem is coming from. So think about a recurring problem in your area. Is it just bad luck, or you could actually pinpoint specific conditions, a type of patient, a time of day, a process gap? That all has to be linked, and that's where diagnostic thinking comes to play. Now there's also the part on the data spectrum, which is predictive analysis, analytics and AI. So what is likely to happen? Now we've generated a forecast using complex models, so we can analyze vast amounts of data. So this is when you've gotten all data from the world, you know why it happens, but you need to analyze what is going to happen in future. That's where AI and predictive analysis come into play. Now, the roles you find with this data analyst, data engineer, Power BI report builder, because you need to see a report of all of this. So this is more data role. So if you're interested in data, looking at the data, looking at the spreadsheets, looking at the numbers, the data pillar is where you find most of the roles that would be useful in your own technical skill or something you like to do. Now we're going to look at the power of flow and integration. So looking at an example of someone called Jane. So Jane's GP has her long-term condition. The ambulance crew has her initial observations, and the A&E has her scan results. Now each of those information is valuable, but it is isolated and it gives a fragmented view. Now, if we harness the power of data flow and integration, what happens is, for safety, A&E can actually see Jane's the drug that Jane's GP prescribed to her instantly, so they know what drug to give to her. Now, for efficiency, when Jane comes to it, she doesn't have to repeat her allergy story 5 times. We've already seen that information because the data already tells us that. And for prediction, if we now integrate AI, a predictive model has a full picture to work with. So the AI will probably know her story, will know the drugs she's on, how long she's had the drugs, and he will also provide her scans, and it can predict, oh, she usually has issues during the colder months, or she usually has issues when it's late or something like that. That is the power of flow and integration. Now we're going to look at FDP, Think about it like the city planning, and it's often misunderstood, right? In federated model, the data mostly stays where it is. So it stays in your hospital trust, it stays in your GP. They are the data owners, they own your data, they are the guardians of your information. Now, the FDP is like a secure planning office that can ask questions from each of the different sources. So remember, imagine a regional planner needs to see elective surgery waiting times so that they can balance workloads. So instead of copying all patient data into one risky database, the FTP sends a query. So what are your weights for hip replacements? Now each trust system answers the question and they answer it anonymously. So remember, data is private and protected. So they answer the questions anonymously and the planner gets to see the regional picture. So you can see, oh, in this region, the wait time for hip surgery is 2 days or 3 days or 5 days, and it gets all that information without actually knowing details into the people that actually have it in the streets they are. It just uses that to get all that information so that you can plan that if in this particular region we have higher wait times, if money is being allocated, we should allocate more money to specialists that hip replacement specialists to that region, because that's where they have the highest number of hip replacement acts. So you see where the FDB comes to play and see where data comes to play. So data is very valuable, but it will be useless if you don't plan for it, if you don't record it properly, and if you don't harness it. Now, in conclusion, remember the question we asked. So, can data predict the future of the world? The answer is a qualified but a powerful yes, it can. So, the descriptive data that we have tells us our history. The flow integrated data that we have actually gives the full history. And predictive analysis and AI gives us a probable forecast. Now, tools like FTP help planners use that forecast to build a more resilient system. Now, we've come to the end of data, and you've seen in this role is you can have something, you can have information, but if you don't use it properly, you can't harness it. So join me and we'll see how best we can use the infrastructure we have, the data we have, and we can come together and build a strategy. See you in part 3.